One question that comes up quite a bit, and it's a question related to white label reselling, is why exactly would somebody want to sell white label digital marketing services? Why would somebody want to sell the services that Rocket Driver offers? And, there's other companies that offer similar services. And of course, I'm a true believer in our company. I think what we've done here is something special, and I think we have really amazing services. But the broad question really isn't about us. It's about the industry in whole, right? People want to know, why exactly would anybody want to, pick this up? Why wouldn't they want to become an affiliate? Why wouldn't they want to go, do a job, buy a franchise? Why, people ask questions. Why wouldn't they want to start a different business? And there's a whole bunch of really, really, really compelling reasons why somebody would want to invest the time learning these services and invest the effort in founding themselves a little agency. The biggest of all, though, is the investment. The investment comes in two forms, right? When you open a business, you've got two major forms of investment. You have your time, right, which is quite often enormous. And then you have the financial investment, which is quite often substantial. Just opening a very small business. I mean, I'm going to the not bottom of the barrel, because I don't think any businesses are really on the bottom of a barrel, so to speak, but let's go to the lowest cost type of sort of retail business you can open, like a push cart vendor. Well, a push cart vendor, generally they own their push cart, and their push carts nowadays cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Try buying one of those things for under a few thousand. Man, it's a chore to find one. You're going to have to buy it used. You're going to have to fix it up. You're going to have to get your insurance. You're going to have to get your incorporation. There's a whole bunch of red tape to jump through. And then it's a gamble, right? Because you have to find a spot to set that thing up. And then in the end, ultimately, you're selling, hot dogs or something, right? So, that's sort of the lowest rung. Above that, look at the investment when you open a restaurant, right? You have to find you've got the two choices there. You can buy a pre-existing restaurant, which, quite often the reason they're being sold is they're not doing very well. Or you can, lease a space, do a build out, or find a space and rent it. And then you have to hire staff. You have to go into major debt. You have to, of course, have insurance, have incorporation, or some kind of legal entity. You have to stock produce. Then you have to, roll the proverbial dice. And this process takes months and years, enormous amount of time. It's a huge gamble, and it stands an equal chance of failure of really any other business. And really, that's sort of the bottom rung. The sliding scale of business goes up from there. Depending upon what kind of business you're opening, these risks can be enormous, absolutely monumental. And the risks, they're very real. People fail the majority of time in business. I've heard people criticize, the show. I was a fan of it, Kitchen Nightmares. People said, well, Ramsey only, succeeded 20% of the time. And I said, wow, he did really well, because you have to understand, he's going into failing businesses and trying to breathe life into them, right? Businesses that are already nosediving, he's trying to bring them back. And the hard reality is that about 80 to 90% of restaurants fail anyway. Right? That's just the hard number. And then you take the percentage that are nosediving, his success rate's huge, right? He gives them a cash injection or whatever he does. I don't know what he does, but you can watch the show, you get the picture. But the point is, businesses fail in huge amounts. All business is a risk. So getting back to white label reselling, selling digital marketing services, okay, what's your risk? Let's look at it, just a cost-benefit analysis, pure numerics here. Let's not get into the emotional arguments over, or the technical arguments or any of that stuff, right? Because I believe just about anybody of moderate to, normal intelligence can learn these services and can learn to sell, right? I don't think those are magical skills, and I don't think you particularly need a huge amount of sales skills. I think you need to be able to be trained more than anything else. But you take a look at this, you take a look at that, and you say, what's the investment? Well, the program itself, which is, it's peanuts. It's, certainly less than a rent. It's not expensive. It's a cell phone bill, realistically, a few cell phone bills, whatever. It's a reasonable monthly there. You have, your legal entity, which is, very moderate. It's a modest cost that you're going to have anyway. And then you've got, your cards, contract, and copy, getting things printed out. And of course, computer and an internet connection. If you total this stuff up, these are all expenses you would have anyway at any other business, generally speaking. except you'd have about a million other expenses. With this industry, you can literally get your legal entity, go ahead and, get yourself trained, and you can do this part-time, mind you. You can start at 4 hours a week and work your way up. You don't have to jump in with both legs, and you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to put it all on the line. You can wade into it. And as you wade into it, you can, take a very moderate risk, and you can afford to fail, learn from your failure, and go back and try again and again and again, which is a huge part of success in business. Most millionaires go bankrupt. I believe it's 2 to 3 times. Right? Most people who are successful have had a whole series of failures that they learned hard lessons from. And the key is they just kept getting back up. They're the people who are stubborn enough to just keep getting up and trying again. Well, in this industry, you can get into this business, for 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a week, 20 hours a week, whatever percentage of time, hours of time you can invest on a part-time basis. Learn from your mistakes, pitch some people, fail, pitch some, succeed. If you get any traction at all in sales, any traction, you land, a couple SEO clients, a few websites a year, you've paid all the expenses, you've repaid yourself, and you've actually technically gone into the black, right? In business, red, you're bleeding money, you're in deficit. Black, you're, successful, you're making money. So for almost no effort and almost no money, and with very little risk, you can get yourself set up. Now, people argue and they say, it takes, there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve to any business you start. I always scratch my head. I'm like, what business is easy? What business doesn't have a learning curve? People say, well, it's really easy to do business X, Y, or Z. And I always tell them, it is. Go and try it, because everything is more complex than you think it is, and everything is more challenging than you think it is when you're actually doing it. Try opening a restaurant. Try being a chef. Try cooking food. Try selling insurance, reading everything you need to know and memorizing it from those exams. Try going and selling stock, getting a Series 7 license. Try going and doing just about anything. Hell, try something that people often associate with ignorance. Ignorant people do this, but a huge amount of people say, a person doing masonry as an example. It's a highly skilled trade. It's extremely complex. Everything is complicated. Everything is nuanced. Construction work is nuanced. Any business you start has a learning curve. The learning curve in this industry, why I think it's very low, is that when you're a white label reseller, you don't have to know all the tech stuff. You just have to make sales happen. You have a company at your back acting as your development house, guiding you. You have a support department to contact when there's problems. Where is your support department if you run a restaurant? Or if you're a mason, building stuff, or you're a carpenter, or, you're any of these business types? There is none. Your support department is Google. Go search. You're on your own. All businesses have learning curves. The learning curve here, because you have a support department behind you, is mild. It's not extreme. Now, through my years with Rocket Driver, I've coached 80-plus-year-old people who, in their day, they may have been technically advanced when they were younger, but they were people who had very modest computer skills, moderate computer skills when they began. And they were able to learn services and make sales successfully because they understood the concept that they don't need to know how to build a website to sell a website. They don't need to know how an SEO campaign works to understand the fundamentals and to showcase it to a prospect and to close them, bill them, and make money off of them. Right? We've had people of all skill levels, of all age ranges, both genders, all races, all creeds, all colors, everything through this program through the years. Every conceivable type and permutation and subdivision and group and minority and affiliation of people that you can imagine of all skill levels through this program through the years. And I'm not touting us saying we're number one. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm telling you is people have succeeded in this environment coming from all walks of life and all backgrounds. The only thing they had in common is they wanted to learn. They were willing to invest the time to conduct their own marketing, to pitch people, to work on and improve upon problems they made. I think self-honesty is probably the number one thing you can't train. If you're doing something wrong, you have to be honest with yourself and fix it. That's it. If you can do that and you are willing to invest the time and learn, I think you can succeed. So this industry, why is white label reselling special? It's special for that reason, because it has a very low investment, very low learning curve, and it's a business where you can try, fail, and rebound again and again and again until you get things perfect. You can treat your business almost like a game. That is incredibly rare in business, because business is not a game. It's deadly serious. And most business types, if you have one error, one mistake, you're done. The business is bankrupt. It's shut down, right? One bad quarter at a restaurant, you don't have money to cover payroll, you're done. It's over. One bad building project as a construction worker, you're done. But in this business, you can learn from mistakes and build upon them and really master this. We've had people here 9 years with us, 9 years, going on 10 with this program, going through every permutation and change and all the stuff we've gone through as a company and as a program and as a business. They've been with us because for them, this business is something more than just a business to them. For a lot of people, this is a side hustle. This is a part-time thing. This is a hobby. This is people treat it all levels. They don't have to run it at one speed. You can run your business fast. You can run your business slow. You can go on vacation 6 months of the year. There's that flexibility and that dynamism, which really makes the white label industry one of a kind.